Hello, my name is Willis, and this is Fish Not Found. This video is for the 3 tents that I acquired for the upcoming garage sale themed gear challenge videos. In this video, I will do a timed setup section, a tour section, and kind of a my thoughts as we go bit. Hope you enjoy. Smells like campfire. Massive. Flopping in the wind. Okay, so there's always problems with getting a used tent. For one, there's wear and tear, things from being used, such as tears, weather seals that are wore out. It could have been put away wet or muddy, which means mildew, mold, smell. As far as I can tell, it smells very much like a campfire. The second problem is missing parts. Can be for a used tent. That's why it's important to put it up to air out so that you know if something's broke or missing. So far I've already noted that I am missing like 4 stakes. 4 stakes just don't exist. So far I gotta say, other than being put away weird, there's a couple dirt spots like mud. And it smells like a campfire, but you won't notice that if you have your own campfire. And missing tent stakes. Not too bad. Let's take a tour of it. Okay, so it's pretty standard for a box store style dome 6-person. Um, it's got your modern amenities such as a thick tarp bottom. Ozark Trail always seems to have these, or at least as far as I know, always seems to have these, I guess, places to untie your boots. You got your electrical outlet for if you're setting up tent in an RV area. There's some really nice big vent areas, but when you have the rain fly on, that's about the gap that you got. I mean, this one here, I don't have any stakes to pull the cords out, so it's got one clippable bag to hang up against the ceiling. You got your loop for your lantern. You got built-in bags, one over there, small one over here. There's some loops over there next to your power deal. And here is a bag that is mesh on one side and plastic on the other. It's got a clip over there, I imagine. But I think you can set it up to clip up where this mesh net goes as well. You got one fairly small, but they want it to stay under the rain fly, of course, window with mesh screening. I see some spots here that might be mildew. Spots where there's pretty much, it's mainly dirt. There's dirt. The tent wasn't swept out before it was put away. There's a rubber band that has stuck to the side of the tent here. So overall, judging by the mildew, I'd say it was put away wet, and they did not bring it out to air out later. And so I don't know how the weather seals would be. There's also not a tub style, so it's got this nice thick material like the modern tents seem to have, but it's not tubbed. The seam is really close to the ground down here, and as bright as it is in here, I don't think you could really see any gaps in the strings. That yellow vibrant color. There's also wind gusts coming, and the wind gusts, while I was setting it up, kept pushing this corner because this window was closed. And so after I was able to stake down some of the leads, it really helped there. But it's just so tall, it's a wind catch. I bet if you had 4 or 5 people, it would probably fit them pretty comfortably. If it was really hot, you could probably remove the rain fly. There's no chances of rain. I'm going to zip this up so I don't get any more bugs in here. Already doing it one-handed. I'm really easy to catch the lips, but they're all there. Overall, I'd say that'll definitely work. It's so big. I'd say it's every bit as big as those cabin ones that my brother and I like to use when we go on short stays. Overall, I'd say it's not bad, especially for a garage sale find. Alright, let's set up one of the other tents. And so the lady gave me this one first before she gave me that big yellow tent. I'm referring to it as the pup tent. It is a pop-up tent, essentially made for a child to play in. kind of glad that it's not the only option I've got for this adventure. Pretty simple to set up. Pull the cord, pops up. Call it the pup tent because dog head. There's no real good way to stake it down, but it has paws so you can put rocks or weights in. And as you can see, well, I'm glad it's not my only option, is it's shorter than me. Most of your pop-up tents have a similar structure. So this is actually my first one, but I've seen them used multiple times. I imagine it's great fun for the kids, but it's not going to work too well for an adventure. Almost a tarp fly would probably be better. There's plenty of ventilation though, all the way around it. So that's cool enough. And gather it up like so. And it pretty much twists back on itself. And once you get used to using a tent like this, it's really easy to set up. But this one here is just a little play tent. Hey, so the dog pop-up tent was part of a series known as Pop-Up Pals and was made by Cameron, sold at Home Depot in 2017 for approximately $13 American. The problem is, in 2018, a recall was sent out for risk of lacerations from the poles breaking. So that's a thing. Now this one's interesting. I got it essentially with the first garage sales. There's 3 tent stakes in this bag. In a clear plastic bag. It was supposed to be a tarp in a bag. It had been gotten at a garage sale and then returned to that garage sale because the person who thought it was a tent had supposedly pulled it up and realized that it was a blue tarp. Now I understand why they thought that, because it's got that really thick bottom tarp material and it very much looks like a generic cheap blue tarp. That being said, imagine my surprise when I pulled it out to put tools on it and it was totally a tent. Avid Outdoors. I have never heard of that brand. So, this tent is a 3-pole dome style tent, which has its benefits. It means that it's sturdier against the wind than your 4-pole, and you can still get quite a bit of height and with the wind break. The downsides to that is that means 3 times the headache of getting it to slide through the sleeves. Not so bad. It didn't take all that long to set up. About this tent, there is no lines that were on it as extra support, and there was only 3 stakes in the bag. They were also in like a plastic bag instead of like an actual little tin stake bag. They were steel. One of them is thinner and different. It could be maybe this was taken on a backpacking trip. Uh, they wanted to make it lighter. I don't know. I do know that the bottom has traces of dried mud on it, which means there's little bits of dried mud on the tent. As far as mildew, it doesn't even seem to be present. I have no idea how well this thing would survive in a storm, especially with those missing stakes. The tent poles themselves are fiberglass, a lot like the Ozark Trail. They're smaller. I'd say they're the diameter of the one person or the youth style tents, which makes me wonder if it's a youth style tent or if it's supposed to be some kind of backpacking dome, maybe. It was pretty heavy. The fiberglass poles, the steel inserts, you can tell it was put away wet, or at least it had been through many wet times, not only because of the mud, but also the collars on the fiberglass were rusty. They were rusty inside the pole bag, which is good that it was inside the pole bag, because inside the pole bag it didn't mess up the tent with the rust. So I suppose let's do a tour. It's definitely a large parachute with the air vent on, and that's pretty much your ventilation is the top. Your door goes down. Not a fan of that. So it's got a lip. It still has a bit of bungee left in it. Oh, that's another thing. These poles, the bungee in them is still a little bit bungee, but very stringy. We do have a full mesh door, which is good, because looking inside here, up there is your only ventilation. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you could fit 2 men in here, but I feel like this is one person, really. Yeah, it didn't get swept up much. From its last trip, and I do see 2 spots over here that may need to be treated a little bit. But otherwise, there's just traces of mud on the outside. It's got that tub. You see how it goes further down? And so there should be a tub here, but if you look, you can see sunlight through how thin this tarp is. It still feels like there's material left to it, but it's really thin. But I think it'll serve my purposes. So you got your vents up top. With the wind blowing in it currently, it's not that bad, but it is. In the sunlight, it would be a sauna in here. I don't know how much that rain fly would protect you. The seams, well, they're sewn. There's a little bit of loose. I don't know if that's from the manufacturer or if that's just it. If you look down here, you can see where the seam is pulling through, where you can see little beads of light through the stitch holes. But that's not all that unbelievable for an older tent. It has been used. It's only got 1 cubby, so I'm going to dare to say that this is a 1-man tent. It might be 2. Laying full out, I come awfully close to touching it. Heads Not that far away from here, but I bet you could lay a bag out. Yeah, in the sunlight, this thing's going to be just a sauna. But you take off the rain fly, you'd have a lot of sun coming in, but at least you wouldn't have bugs. Accessory. We've got a single mesh bag. There's nothing to hang a lantern on. I do like how taut the tent itself is with 3 small poles. It actually, it seems quite sturdy. I think I've got the rain fly on wrong, because I think those seams are supposed to line up with the poles. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got it on crooked. But it's interesting, it's perfectly fitted to where it'll fit either way. Overall, I gotta say the actual like strength of the tent is there. I ended up having to, like I said, use alternative stakes to help hold it down from the wind. Now that I took that fly off, the wind's going right through it just fine. Just based on the writing on the tent and the emblems that were on badges inside the tent, that it was from this company founded in '93 that imported and sold camping supplies. It seems like in 2000 they had gained other properties, and at that point they seemed to disappear, up until I read this article from 2023 that talked about the trademark. And apparently the trademark had been trademarked in, sorry, let me check my notes here, in '98, and the last date that it was updated was '06, meaning that I think it's safe to assume that this blue tent is as old as 24 years and as young as 16 years old. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that's... I don't even know what just happened there. Wonder if the poles are weak. Okay, so those are my 3 garage sale fine tents. They seem like mighty fine tents. Yeah, I'm gonna let them air out. I'm gonna sweep them out. Maybe try to wash some of the mud off of them. Give them a little love and attention. Let them breathe. Let them stretch. Let the sun heat them up and maybe take away anything that might be gross, even like a smell. See if I can't treat some spots, and then I'll put them away. What I'm thinking is I've got that blue tent from my first adventure, but that ain't gonna fit me and my brother. It ain't gonna fit both of us inside that tent. It'll easily fit me. Meanwhile, for the challenge 2, I was able to find this nice 6-person tent that would easily accommodate me and my brother. You see, I snore very loudly, and he rolls, and so I don't want him to lose sleep from being right next to my foghorn, and I don't want him to roll over on me because he was trying to sleep better. Um, so I think I'm going to switch them. Take the little blue tent on my solo trip, yellow tent on my duo trip, um, with the duo challenge. So if you like what you just saw, if you like outdoors content, that's what this video channel is hoping to deliver. I plan on making a episode every week. I don't know when on the week it will fall. Please feel free to subscribe and feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Maybe give me some ideas on videos that you want to see. I can see about making them happen. And until next time, this was Willis with Fish Not Found.